Non-US citizen entrepreneurs have options, and they should be aware of these options. In today's video, I am going to talk to you about the 5 most common mistakes non-US citizen entrepreneurs fall into when choosing a state to start a business. Hi, my name is Andrew. I'm the managing attorney here at Freedom Through Business, where we help entrepreneurs just like you start your businesses, grow your businesses while staying legally compliant. The purpose of these videos are to provide you with as much clarity and guidance in the beginning stages of starting a business. So if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like, subscribe, as well as the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos. These videos are for educational purposes only, and so make sure you speak with a professional prior to doing anything. With that side note out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the 5 most common mistakes non-US citizens fall into when choosing a state to start a business. As a non-US citizen entrepreneur, non-US citizen entrepreneurs have options when it comes to starting a business in the US, and it's very important to be aware of these options to ensure business success. The first most common mistake to avoid when choosing a state to start a business as a non-US citizen is going to be failing to consider whether or not this entrepreneur eventually plans to move to the US. I've worked with many clients in the past who initially live overseas. Maybe they live in Asia, maybe they live in Canada, but then eventually they want to move to the States. This is a very common scenario, and this is all possible because of what's called the E2 visa work application. The E2 visa work application permits non-US citizen entrepreneurs to visit the state to work on their business. But what about long-term goals? What if an entrepreneur sees himself or herself moving their entire family to the US? They want to be able to create a new life for themselves. If this is the case, the entrepreneur is going to want to choose the state where he or she plans to move. So if Cameron, who currently is a citizen of Canada, plans to move to the US in approximately 1 to 2 years, Cameron plans to move to California. Cameron's going to want to choose California when starting his business. The second most common mistake non-US citizen entrepreneurs fall into when choosing a state to start a business is they fail to take into consideration filing fees. Now, if you're not aware, each state is a little bit different when it comes to filing fees. For example, the state of Wyoming requires a filing fee of $50, while the state of Texas requires a filing fee of $400. If an entrepreneur is not aware of their options, if they're not aware that each state has different filing fees, this could impact their business from the start. Maybe this entrepreneur only has a set amount of funds to use. Well, this entrepreneur is not going to want to register their company in the most expensive state, going to want to look at their options, and they're going to want to determine what their best options are. The third most common mistake to avoid when choosing a state to start a business as a non-US citizen is failing where a majority of the business work will take place. This is a very important part of starting a business. Say, for example, an entrepreneur wants to be able to engage in exporting and importing. A majority of this exporting will take place exporting goods from Asia and then importing these goods into the state of Florida. Because a majority of the work is being done in Florida, because a lot of the orders are being received in Florida, because a lot of the products are being processed and sent from Florida, it's very clear that a majority of business work is taking place in Florida. Because this is the case, this non-US citizen entrepreneur is not going to want to form their business in Wyoming or Texas. They're going to want to form their business in the state of Florida because Florida is where a majority of the business is taking place. This is something that a lot of entrepreneurs tend to overlook. They think that they have the option to choose whichever state they want to start their business. So they'll start it, say for example, in Wyoming. Little did they know that because the majority of the work is being done in Florida, they have to report their business transactions to the state of Florida, which leads to additional fees associated with both the state of Wyoming, because Wyoming is where the entrepreneur initially started his business, as well as Florida, because Florida is where a majority of business is taking place. So this entrepreneur is going to need to be responsible for 2 state fees, Wyoming state fees and Florida state fees. So if a majority of one's business takes place in a certain state, well, it's going to be in that entrepreneur's best interest to choose that state when starting a business. The 4th most common mistake non-US citizen entrepreneurs run into when choosing a state to start a business is they fail to take into consideration that each state provides non-US citizen business benefits differently. What I mean by this is some states are more favorable when it comes to non-US citizen entrepreneurs than others. For example, Wyoming provides absolute benefits to a non-US citizen entrepreneur. It provides anonymity. Filing fees are very low, $50 per year. It provides some of the strongest personal liability protection for non-US citizens, etc. These benefits provided by Wyoming, anonymity, extra protection, is not necessarily provided in other states like California. California, for sure, does not provide anonymity. So, prior to choosing a state to start a business, if you're a non-US citizen, make sure, be aware that you have options and that each state provides something a little bit different. And the 5th most common mistake non-US citizen entrepreneurs fall into when choosing a state to start a business is they fail to start the business in the wrong state. What I mean by this is, say for example, a non-US citizen entrepreneur lives in California. The most common mistake I see is entrepreneurs live in one state and then they'll start their business in another state. As a non-US citizen, this can be quite problematic. To ensure that one is maintaining compliance in the state where they live, they're going to want to make sure that when they start a business, if that entrepreneur already lives in a state, for example, California, then that entrepreneur is going to want to start their business in the state of California, in the state where they live. If an entrepreneur lives in California, then they're not going to want to start a business in Florida, because that will lead to additional fees that are unnecessary. Non-US citizens who are currently residing in the States should start a business in the state where they are currently located. If they plan to maybe move in a month or two to another state, then they can go ahead and consider forming a business in that other state. But if they are located in a specific state, then that non-US citizen entrepreneur is going to want to start their business in that state. If you happen to have any questions about anything that I talked about in today's video, please make sure you leave a comment down below and we'll be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. If you happen to enjoy this video, please make sure you hit the like, subscribe, as well as the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos. It's time to invest in yourself. It's time to rise.